Marhaba. Once again, hello to everyone who's kind enough to join us today. I'm Dr. Jack Dempsey, American writer and historian living in Crete. And with me is Palestinian writer and historian Muhammad Jihad Ismael. We've been friends for about 2 years now and trying to keep the dialogues alive about the Palestinian situation. He lives in Gaza in a place called Deir el-Bala with a beautiful family. And we've gotten to know each other over these past couple of years. And again, we're just two people out of the world trying to keep the conversation going about what's happening and what's not happening in Gaza. So hello, Muhammad. Thank you for coming again and for sharing with us all you have been about your immense cultural, historical knowledge and research. I know that people have really enjoyed it.
Thank you, brother. I hope today we will do a good job and we are making a good show for the people who are watching us.
Yeah, and with that, I'd like to get right to it. Last time you were telling wonderful stories about, well, Palestinian awareness of long times, long decades and centuries of peaceful coexistence between Palestinians and Muslims and Christians in the region. This was after the Crusades, which ran about 1100 to 1300. And we were talking about how it represents such a tremendous bit of patience and even forgiveness from the Muslim world to tolerate and be so cordial with the Christian population there in the wake of that. So please tell us anything you'd like to about your research, your knowledge, your experience of that period. It was really interesting to hear last time.
All the time here in Palestine, we had coexistence and tolerance between Christians and Muslims. Even in the Crusades era, also we have this kind of coexistence. And in fact, both of them, Muslims and the Christians, were united in one front against the Crusades. Both of them, Muslims and Christians, have considered the Crusades as enemies and invaders. Christians of Palestine used to fight against the Crusades, and we have a lot of martyrs from the Christian of Palestine who were killed in the battles against the Crusades. So all the time, whether before Crusades or after Crusades, or even during the Crusades era, we had this kind of wonderful tolerance and coexistence between Muslims and the Christians in Palestine.
Well, that speaks remarkably about the Muslim political sense, because you would think that with almost the entire region in an almost total war during the Crusade invasions, that the Muslim governments and military might not be willing to tolerate such toleration between Christians and Muslims. But it's remarkable that you say they did.
Yes. We had this kind of tolerance and coexistence, whether between the people as a social way of life, even if you speak about political situation, even all the Muslim countries in that era used to elect or to choose some Christian ministers, Christian high officers in the state. So Christians were not neglected. If you want to speak about the political power who controlled the country, no, they had a good position inside the regime of the countries of those Muslim states in that time.
As if they understood that the wars will come and the wars will go. but relationships between peoples must endure.
Of course, it's a fact. Yeah.
Well, that's well said. I've seen Native American people give that kind of shrugging accuracy to sum up a situation. Well, that's the way it is.
Yes.
And you mentioned also that you are a historian of Palestine yourself, in the sense that you have edited together a collection of travel books, travel articles, and essays that were written by people who visited Palestine during the last 4 or 5 centuries, and what they had to say about the land and the people and the way of life there, the history, etc. And that one of them was Nikos Kazantzakis, the famous Cretan Nobel Prize winner for literature. He visited and wrote a book that he published in 1929. And in it, we mentioned last time that he had predicted that it would be about 20 years, and then you would see the emergence of Zionist Israel. And we smiled together because he was exactly right to the year. So anything you'd like to share from the things you have learned about what people have written in ancient times about Palestine, or anything you'd like to share from Kazantzakis' work that I think you said you might like to read or share a passage or two. Take it away, Muhammad.
During 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries, we had a lot of travelogues, travel literature books, or articles, or reports were written about Palestine. During those 4 centuries, we have about 3,000 books written about Palestine from visitors who used to came to Palestine as politicians, as diplomats, as to make pilgrimage to Bethlehem, Nazareth, Jerusalem. Those people who used to travel to Palestine, some of them used to write their experience, what they see, what they notice through their travel to Palestine. So generally, we have about 3,000 books written during these 4 centuries about the travelogues of Palestine. 6 years ago, I published a book entitled Travelogues about Palestine. In this book, I used to make a collection for some extracts or quotations. I borrowed them from several books written by people who came to Palestine. Let me differentiate between 2 motifs for the writers of these travelogues. Some of them used to come to Palestine to explore this land, to explore the Holy Land, which is flowing with milk and honey. Mm-hmm. No, in Bible, Palestine is the land, the Holy Land, which flow with milk and honey. So some of them came to Palestine from biblical motif to explore this Holy Land, because they are planning one day to make a sort of state in this land in order to bring back Jesus on earth. You know,
Evangelists.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So some of these writers used to write travelogues about Palestine from biblical motif. The other people, they used to write travel literature about Palestine and travelogues only for fun or to joy or to document sweet memories they had in Palestine. Because, Palestine is a beautiful country. In Palestine, you have all the kinds of nature. You have the plains, you have mountains, hills, desert. You have all the climates, all the all the kinds of nature. So Palestine, if you want to speak about the landscapes and nature, is a very beautiful country. So the other kind of people who didn't came from biblical motif, they came only to write for joy and to write what they see in Palestine, the beauty of the land.
Can you share some of the most interesting remarks that they made?
Yeah.
Some of the most interesting things they said about the people or the landscape or whatever you might want to share? Because I wish I had a copy of that book in English. I would love to read the whole thing myself, and we have to work on finding you a translator in English. There's a big hint.
Yeah. In fact, I hope one day if this book can find its way to the English readers,
I
hope
think they would be fascinated. I think they would buy it and read it very strongly.
I hope that because I stayed like 2 years just collecting the material of this book and writing this book. It took too much efforts from me and too much time. In fact, I will came to the last book which I covered in my research, which was Nikos Kazantzakis one. I talked about it in the last show.
Yes.
It's a journey to Palestine. This book, as you just mentioned, was written in the 20s of the last century.
1929.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of the last books which I studied in my book. In this book, I highlighted some quotations. I hope I can read because now I haven't enough light. I haven't enough light, but let me try to read. In one quotation, Nikos is saying the following: Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad came from the same source. Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad came from the same source. They came to build the bridge for us to go through this bridge to the Lord. They are the leaders. They are the champions that we have to admire and respect. He speaks about Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad. In another quotation, Nikos is saying the following: when I was aboard my ship, my Greek ship, we became so near to the Palestinian shore. It is an amazing shore. The sands are brightening and glowing like gold. I am seeing wonderful birds flying in the sky. I am seeing wonderful mountains in the background. I am seeing a light coming from a small house in Nazareth. It is the house of Jesus in Nazareth. It's an amazing light coming from Nazareth, and it's a very beautiful landscape. I am seeing now a wonderful shore. We are approaching more and more from Palestine. I am smelling the odor of my ancestors who came to this land.
That's a wonderful final phrase, isn't it? Because it reminds me, at least, of here in Crete, when a couple of tourists showed up recently and people asked them where they were from, and they said Lebanon, and they said, why have you come to Crete? And they said, because we are Philistines. We want to come and learn about our heritage. And for him to say, a Cretan, that I smell the aroma, as it were, of my ancestors when he's on the sea offshore from Palestine is a beautiful thought that carries his sense of real physical participation in that history. He was a writer of great vision.
Exactly. Yes.
Is there more you'd like to share? And before you do, I'd like to point out for our audience that if I haven't already, that Gaza is under a continuous siege. Muhammad is lucky if he gets 8 hours of electricity a day, and all the programs that we've done have been run on his battery power, and it tends to fade as our programs go on. So we are not losing him per se, but we are losing him to the darkness that is around him. And if that's a metaphor for what is happening to his whole people, then so be it. But this is the reality we have to work with. Just wanted people to be aware of why we are finding it increasingly difficult to see you, but I think we can still work, Muhammad. Would you like to share something more from that while we have a couple of minutes left for this part?
Right now, I cannot read more because I haven't light. I have a darkness now. But I think in other episodes, in other shows, maybe we can continue.
Okay. Well, let me see. If you wish to, Muhammad, we can call it a day and keep this show short, but we certainly have more to share, and we hope people will look for the next installment. We'll try to signify that in the notes to this program, eventually, where with a link they can find the next installment. So perhaps we should end our program for today, Muhammad?
It's up to you, as you like. If you want to make more 5 minutes.
I think that if we have as much as a half an hour left, or maybe 20, 25 minutes, you will be absolutely in the dark by the time we get to the end. And I think that would disappoint a lot of people. So maybe we should cut it here, say thank you to our audience, and how much we wish to bring them beautiful things like you just read next time. And we hope they'll look for it. What do you say?
Okay, brother. Okay. I am sorry because my
please don't apologize. This is something that is being done to you for no good reason, Muhammad. The audience understands, I'm sure, and can see even more clearly what a terrible irony here, the reality of your situation, your family, your friends. How would people cope with the lack of water or the lack of electricity for even one day, even 3 days, even a week? We cannot even function. And yet you and the Palestinian people of Gaza and the territories and Jerusalem just go on surviving. And we love you for that. And we are going to see justice.
Thank you, brother, for your understanding and for your solidarity with our people. Thank you so much for your kind words. I hope to make new shows, new episodes to clarify for people our situation, to clarify them our historical background,
Yes.
all the information about the Palestinian cause and the Palestinian people. I am ready always to do my best.
Okay, we're going to do that very soon, and our viewers, if with their great graciousness, will put up with it. We'll continue to try to bring out this wonderful material. You, when you get the lights back on, I'm sorry, but I am so embarrassed. When you get the lights back on, find us some more of those great selections from your scholarship about the ancient Palestine from your travel book and from Mr. Kazantzakis. It was a thrill, what can I say, to hear that kind of language. And I thank you for that. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Muhammad. And we will wish you a good night and a better morning.
Thank you.
A better
Thank you
morning,
for
my friend.
you. Thank you for you and for all the friends who are joining us and watching this show.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.